Hi everyone, it's Mad along with Choco, and today we're going to talk about the new banner with Lord of the Seas Nichol, a very powerful Leviathan based unit, and Nerine, one of the story characters from Season 3 that we're finally getting. Stay tuned to see what they're good at and what they're not so good at. Alright, so with Nerine here, her TMR is a decent one, increases attack 40%, change, ignore fatal damage 20% when HP is above once. So it's a 1 in 5. You have a chance. And gives you 20% more when equipped with a great sword. I would only get the 1 at most from her. Her STMR though is a two-handed greatsword, 182 with variance averaging 1.3 of 1 to 1.6. But what I really like about this is it gives physical damage against aquatics and humans. The MP 7% per turn is okay, but it's nice having a killer on a two-handed weapon. It does help out greatly, and it's a relatively rare one in aquatics. So Narine's first skill is just a physical damage. Stardust Ray does give 80 MP as well to herself. This is what all you're going to use it for. Now, they do have a very unique skill, and these skills are right here. Is basically when the turn after she does her limit burst, you can cast one of these skills, which gives additional multipliers overall as well. And it gives up to roughly around a 50x if you put everything into correct order. And also gives you some wind resistance and increases damage as well. So, and it gives you 5 turns. So generally, you have the wind and you have water here, which are the two skills. And she can also cast decreased water wind resistance, which also gives her an attack and can heal and MP as well. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to have a triple cast. You're going to cast one of these depending on which one you're looking for. You both are aquatic and human killer. So you're going water or wind. Probably going to cast this unless someone else has something more powerful. With the TMR and STMR equipped, she will get the triple cast. These are okay, but the only one that's interesting is this one that allows you to get triple cast without having to use one of the unlockables. Very, very useful. She usually has a double cast, but turn 1 she will have the triple cast. And you're going to use one of these bad boys to give, this one here gives you the triple cast. Generally, you're probably going to use this one. Gives modifier 1.5x to everything here, turn 1. She does have a nice kind of cap finisher turn 2 with a 50x right off the bat. And let me just make sure, nope, none of the other skills buff it up either. But very, very nice here is that you do have a capper as well. Yes, it's only one cap at turn 2, but you're going to need the time. This is the skill, though, that you will be spamming every 4 to 6 turns, depending. With the wind and water resistance is nice, but this enables triple cast. This is probably the main skill that you'll be going. And she also does have this ability here. The 200% limit burst damage is kind of nice, but her limit burst is lacking a little bit in power. It's more of a buff. Giving 32 limit burst though to caster is huge. This is what's going to allow you to cast it right off the bat. And the damage is actually pretty good too at 56. So, you know, turn 3 you're going to cast this if you don't have it. And let's just go directly to the limit burst. At the end it's 65, so 200% does bring it up fairly decently as well. But all in all, it's not designed for damage. What you do get is a modifier 3 turns to the, or for 3x additional modifier up there, and enables 2 more skills which are here. One of the skills allows you to evade physical attacks, 6 physical attacks for 5 turns to the caster, stops your attack break. gives you 17.5x to the main one above that I told you, and the others just get 2.5, which you don't really care about. The other one also allows you to get mitigation damage, increase defense. Basically, you're going to use one or the other depending on what you need to increase that. And you'll see those are the two skills up above here that allows you to decrease the water resistance. So most likely turn 4 you're going to do a limit burst. Turn 5 you're going to cast one of the skills, and then these two here to do your maximum amount of damage. And you'll you'll set it up all the way through here. As I say, it's interesting that you got this for 5 turns. So turn 5, you will cast that. Turn 6, unfortunately, if you need to, you will, or you can try and wait for it as well, depending on how everything goes. This is going to be the main skill that you'll try to time everything else with. This turn here allows you to guarantee you that you will be able to cast your limit burst the next turn. All in all, she has a kit that is fairly useful. If you'll notice here, she hates aquatics and humans all the way through. She does get the start of battle. She will get a triple cast here. This skill here gives you additional modifier right off the bat. So you will get some decent attack right off the bat, and you'll build it up and then keep going. Her job is to do damage. She does it fairly well with water and wind. But she is a true double hand user, and all in all, she does have a very good amount of 150% true double hand. Actually, I think it's 250 or 250. Sorry. So she has a very large amount. It is 250 overall. So she does have a decent amount with the 50% LB damage, but her LB is set up to do more damage. It isn't a very high-end damage. Just a final word before I have my final word. She's a decent elemental unit, but doesn't have a very large amount of damage, and she is a little late currently into the game. So now let's stay tuned, and let's take a look at Lord of the Seas Nichol. Alright, Lord Sea Nichol. TMR, honestly, not all that great. Materia, only going to use it for him if you don't have his STMR. His STMR is at least a little better, has good water resistance, and does increase physical and magic damage against beasts and aquatics. The only issue with the STMR is defense and spirit base, does not have any magic or attack to help out, but it does have killers, so I would rate it as medium. This is not a item that you really need to go super ham for, but aquatics is somewhat rare. Very interesting that both Nerine and Lord of the Seas Nichol are together, and this is an aquatic banner, so that's very interesting. The vision card is also interesting. I'm not really 100% sold on it. FFBE unit, fire, ice, lightning, and water resistance 20% at level 10 is interesting. Gives you HP 800, base magic and spirit 80, and increases MP by 40%. Not a huge fan of the MP at all. It would have been nice if we would have been able to increase HP, magic, or even spirit instead of MP. Basically, it's designed for a support unit and just to increase the MP quickly. One of those where I'm only going to have one vision card. Alright, for the Brave Shift availability, this is kind of important. Brave Shift's available turn 1. You have 3 turns with it. Cooldown then will go back to normal after you're done, and then you're before turns with the normal one. So it is not an instant on-off unit, and this is one of the big drawbacks to Lord of the Seas Nichol. The skills overall are actually very simple. On the main form here, you get cast 3 times, and this is his main skill right here in his main form. Add water element to physical attacks for 4 turns to all allies. completely all water based. Increase fire, lightning, and water resistance for 100% for 4 turns to all allies, and increase water, physical, and magic damage 30% for 4 turns to all allies. And has this physical damage that will remove all status effects from enemy. Let's go to his magic. The magic here is has flood and a chaos wave awaken water damage skills here. I do like that he can lower the water resistance here, but it's flood chaining, which is a little hard to use. And he can also increase defense and spirit with mitigate magic and physical damage for 50 turns to all allies. A very, very good support. He has the ability to increase his limit gauge 60 to caster when it is start of the battle. All of his stats go up by 60%. He can refill his own limit burst gauge and has evoke and magic. So this guy is a summoner, and on his brave shift form, he is a Leviathan summoner of death. So that's what he's going to be basically known for. Rod basically, and his normal attack is very, very interesting here. Gives water damage 16x to all allies, increases LB gauge 2 to all allies, and it gives you a chance to counter physical attacks taken by allies with a 1x magic scaling up for all enemies. It's interesting. Is it powerful? And he can also auto cast at the start of the battle. Get the evocation gauge at 7. Gives you fire resistance, LB damage for everyone, and attack, magic, defense, and spirit. And this is auto cast, so you want to make sure you start him off as the normal form, because this is very, very nice. His limit burst is very interesting, but honestly his brave shift form is even better. But they're both very useful, make sure you know. His limit burst is incredibly unique, where he removes all buffs from enemies and removes all debuffs from allies. Also increases attack, defense, magic, spirit by 300% for 4 turns to allies, and your limit burst damage for 200%. Very, very, very good. Now let's go to the brave shift form. It's a little bit more complicated, but not too much. Very, very interesting here. Aquatic killer for 5 turn cooldown. You cast it once, then you gotta wait till you can brave shift again. We'll add water just like the previous one. This one here though is something that you're going to use. I love it. Remember, turn 1 he gets 7 on the gauge right there. You can do water evoke damage, which will give 150% water evoke, which is just like Transterra and all the other summoners. And will also increase the evocation gauge. So as long as you've got 3, you can cast it there, and you'll actually go up to 9, unlike most summoners that drain it. He has another one that takes 2, that will increase beast and aquatic, magic, and physical damage. Still actually increases the evocation gauge by 4. So if you actually cast this first, have 4 total, and then 2 here, you actually fill the gauge up all the way. Very, very nice. This is a very well designed summoner kit. This is how summoners should be designed. I really like the kit. I just don't like that he's locked to water. Last one here, you have increased attack and magic 300% to all allies. It does use up all 10. Allows skill to flood, basically here. Recovers MP. Increases limit burst to everybody. Very, very powerful skill, but it does require all 10 here, which kind of handicaps him as well a little bit. Around here, this is just the same thing. Just remember, though, if you have his TMR, SCMR equipped, you increase Leviathan's bonus stats by 200%. You increase the evil magic by 200%. And also, if you single wield, it gives 100% bonus here. But that the single wield is kind of important for the summon. Here's the overall there. Nothing really changed much, but this is the skill to water evoke damage to all enemies for flood. So you can actually have your entire team do flood evoke damage, which is kind of interesting. He has the same abilities here as well as the first one. But before I end up here, I want to talk about this limit burst. This limit burst is bonkers. Uh, Attack, defense, magic, spirit, 350% for 4 turns to all allies. So this is something that you're going to want to cast. Uh, the water, physical, and water magic damage for 45% to all allies for 4 turns. Highest currently for water. And also increases limit burst damage to 250% for all allies. But all in all, I do love the limit burst, and I do like the unit. He also has, before we finish here, if you summon Leviathan, he will create a water field of effect as well, which will also increase water damage right here. And all in all, he is the water summoning king, or lord, I should say, of this point, which it goes very much to the name. As a side note to the original CG Nichol has a wonderful rod weapon that you can equip that also increases Leviathan's evoke and Emperor Fu's, but he is limited. So if you have an Emperor Fu's weapon or Leviathans here, single wield will give you a little bit higher magic, which will actually give you a little bit more oomph in the end if you can fit everything in. Otherwise, you can double and be able to get him up to 300% overall. But Leviathan here, this is exactly what you're going to be equipping him with. He will be a very, very powerful summoner, and basically just use him to cap at the very end, but otherwise he is 100% a support unit. So let's go ahead and go through and summarize this entire banner. Alright, for Nerine, positives, very easy to equip attacker, starts out with buffs and can keep them going. Her element coverage, she has 2, so it's decent water and wind. Doesn't blow me out of the water there, but all in all, can increase her own attack against aquatic and humans. Very, very nice. SDMR is very interesting. This is really the main thing I'm looking for her. Her two-handed sword at 182 attack is good, not the highest, but does have 2 killers, aquatics and humans. Basically, if you're fighting aquatics and you're looking for that, that's the weapon you want. It is a little niche, I know, but it does give options. By far the thing that I'm most interested in her. Negatives, the LB is not very powerful, but you need to cast it to keep the buffs going. And she has decent damage with triple cast, but she is released way too late. So her damage has fallen off, especially compared to NV units. And she is not pull worthy in my eyes, but her STMR is interesting. I would love to have it, but we will see if how lucky I get with Nichol. And I will probably UOC if required when I am looking for a sword like that. So let's quickly go over Seeking Nichol. Completely different type of overview here. The most powerful support unit in the game, and I doubt that we'll have a more powerful water support unit for a very long time. Gives buffs to pretty much everything in the game. He can MP fill once every 10 turns, but it's 1,000 MP. Has a limit burst gauge fill. Stats across the board. Can increase resistances, fire, ice, lightning, and water. And damage increases up to 45% for water base, which is incredibly high. Units weak to water, fear-seeking Nichol. So, Summoner of a Leviathan, he can chain cap with Leviathan if you need to. Also gives area of effect as well. LB is just stupid bonkers. The 45% water damage and 350% attack, magic, defense, and spirit buffs are just insane. Also can remove buffs from enemies and debuffs from allies on his normal form, both limit bursts have incredible potential power. Uh, and he can even give allies one turn ability to Flood Chain, which is actually an evoke damage. I know a lot of people aren't really focused on that, but to me, that would allow for some interesting shenanigans. Maybe 100 count chain, etc., etc. Could make some battles a lot easier to jury rig for Dark Visions or even for Clash of Wills. Negatives. Biggest negative by far is this Brave Shift is limited. The lack of flexibility going one to the other is the one of the two main things that really hold him back. His Brave Shift form is incredibly powerful, but you can't transform back and forth. Once you Brave Shift, you have 3 turns with his Brave Shift form, then 4 turns in his regular form. And you cannot switch it back from there. So you've locked yourself in for 7 turns on which skills you can use, can't use, etc. And the other big drawback that I have with him is you want elemental help outside of water, he is not your guy. So is he pull worthy? I will do tickets. I will do 2, most likely up to 2 pulls along with the treasure pull, and that's all I'll do on the banner. I really would like to use him. I really like Leviathan. My Leviathan's actually not quite fully leveled, but almost fully leveled, and is second behind Bahamut in power. So I kind of was really excited for Nichol, but the main issue I have with him is not per se the that he has his negatives, but that the 2 units that I am really looking forward to, Sephiroth and Celis, are coming relatively soon as well. So I'm kind of saving up for it right now, but I am willing to do my limited ticket stash, which is pretty limited, I will admit, and up to 2 pulls depending on how everything goes, to try and get him, which is a lot more than some of the banners that have come and will be coming up fairly soon as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. You can please like and subscribe. You can also follow me on twitch.tv/Madgarou. I hope you guys the best of luck in all of your summoning. Let me know what you're getting, if you're very interested in Seaside Nichol or Nerine. But most importantly, good luck out there, everyone, and I hope you get what you're looking for. Bye, everyone.